And good afternoon. This is The Guys Next Door, brought to you by Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. I'm your host, Ron Arenas, with my co-host, Pastor John McLean.
Yes. Correct.
Man, we have an action-packed show for you. I am so excited.
This is exciting. I've been excited all week long.
Yeah.
When I heard this news, which you usually don't even let me know until the day of the show, so it was even bigger surprise. I have to admit, I tinkled a little bit, just a little bit. I was so excited.
Is that TMI?
Yeah, too much information possibly, but it's the honest truth. Just because, when I first met this gentleman in person, he happened to be one of the most gracious, most poignant, probably one of the public officials that I felt most heard by in person.
Yeah.
And beyond that, and him kind of, taking concern to the work that I do and helping homeless veterans, I receive out of the blue, like magic, like a genie out of a bottle, this folder in the mail with the congressional seal on the front, and inside is a picture of me and this handsome man, with thoughtful words on it. And it was just I was floored. My wife, my kids, everybody sees it. Everybody that comes to my house, I make sure it's the first thing that they look at.
Okay.
So I say all that to say, please introduce our guest.
Yeah, well, let's welcome our guest, Congressman Juan Ciscomani from the 6th District. Welcome, Congressman.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Great to hear both of your voices.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you're super busy right now. I mean, it's election season. The election is just about a month away, and you're all over the place.
34 days.
Yeah.
Oh, man, are you stressed yet, or are we getting there?
No, I'm not. I really am. I'm feeling good about where we are. I'm feeling good about the work that we've done, and also where we go. We get to hear from people. I mean, I'm back home, and I always say that being home keeps me engaged, keeps me connected. It also keeps me married. So these are all great things and
Those
good
are
reasons
great
to
things.
be at home. Those are great things. But we're everywhere, and as much as there is an election looming on us, and by the time that I know we air this interview, it'll be less days. But it's at the same time, I've got a job to do. I mean, I'm a United States congressman serving the people in the district. I can't forget that, and I can't put that aside at all either. So I also have, as much as I have a countdown for the days of the election, I also have a countdown for the end of my first term, which is where we need to do a lot of the work. There's still a budget that we need to pass. There are some veteran bills that we need to take care of before the end of the year. There's a lot of work to do. And even here being at home, it's a great opportunity to do that. I was on the phone with a veteran when I was in my Widow Casa Grande earlier today, and he was giving me some ideas on some of the bills that he sees coming up and what he thinks. So a lot of work on the, per se, official side that is still going on. So that never stops, and that's what I was hired to do. So that's what I'm focusing on.
Right. Tell us a little bit about your trip to Casa Grande today.
Yeah, so I went to go meet with the Lucid Motors, the team. They have probably at this point close to 2,000 people working there. This is
my oldest son is one of them.
You know what? I learned that. I didn't know that. That he's one of the engineers there.
Yeah,
they've got an amazing workforce. I actually spoke part of my remarks in Spanish because a lot of the people working there are first generation immigrants as well. Manufacturing. This is what America is all about, right? All this being made here in the U.S. So I told them, I said, hey, your story reminds me a lot of my own story of coming here, working hard, and just for investing in the next generation. At the same time, it's an amazing employer in the area. Pinal County is a booming county, so I'm proud to represent Pinal County and Congress as well. And the just the team there was amazing. I visited it several times. This is not my first time. I've actually driven up. I test drove a car.
Oh, okay.
One of the Lucid not too long ago. They're super fast. I mean, we're just proud to have them in Arizona. So that was great there, talking manufacturing and what we need to do in that area. So
that's
that
cool.
was good. And, in the morning I saw your wife as well, and Marana at the breakfast. That's a fun event. Saw her there. We chatted for a little bit, and we talked about this interview. So all good.
That sounds like a good day for sure.
Yeah. Your district is so diverse. Can you tell us a little bit about just your district and what it encompasses?
Yeah, sure. So this is a very exciting district. People say, oh, it's a hard district. I say, well, it's a competitive district. I think it's a district where good ideas win. It's
mm-hmm.
1/3 Republican, 1/3 Democrat, 1/3 Independent, roughly. So it's a district that is not heavy on either side. It's a district where, like I said, good ideas win, and you just have to really show results. This is the district that winning the rhetoric battle and having the most followers on social media, all that isn't really what my constituents are looking for. What they're looking for is, hey, what are you offering? What are you bringing home? And that's why we're proud of what we've done for veterans, sure, but also for the money, the federal money that we've been able to bring back. That's the taxpayers' money from here that we, of course, send to Washington. But my job is to bring it back for roads, hospitals, fire departments, water infrastructure, police departments, everything from every corner of the district. And, of course, being on the Appropriations Committee is a plus for this district because we have military bases that need to continue to be funded, and both Fort Huachuca and also DM Air Force Base. And I'm also on the Veteran Affairs Committee. So having that double, it's a double advantage there because on the Veteran Affairs Committee, I can impact the policy. And on the Appropriations Committee, I can impact the funding and the resources for our veterans. I'm one of only 2 Republicans in Congress that get to sit on both of those committees simultaneously. So I use those seats, quite a bit to make sure that we push the advantages for our veterans. So that's what the district is all about. It's a border district. The border is a big, big issue. And what right now the number one issue that we're seeing is the economy. It's cost of living. It's families not being able to afford basic needs from young families that are starting out and kids continue to grow and expenses continue to grow as well to seniors that are in fixed incomes.
Yeah.
So those are the things that my district cares about. It's a very exciting district. This is where I grew up, and my first job was at the Wendy's on Broadway in Kolb. Went to Rincon High School on Broadway in Swan, and this is my it's my home. It's my home.
Right. So so we're going to get to the hard-hitting question. There's a rumor, and the rumor came from you when you were speaking at your State of the District address that I went to, that you're involved with youth flag football, which is something very near and dear to my heart because our kids were involved with the same thing.
Yeah, these are the fastball questions you get from the guys next door. So prepare yourself.
Well, listen, it is. I have to admit, it's probably the only time of the day when we're practicing or during games that I actually separate from my phone. The rest of the time,
good.
I'm pretty close to it. But when we're coaching, it's I really get into it, and it's both the coaching of the sport, but also the leadership that we're able to invest in these kids. And I started out coaching my daughter. Actually, she played flag football as well. She had a really good arm. She was the quarterback of the team, and she aged out. And then I coached my other son, and I've coached them together. But at this point, 2 have aged out of the program there, and I've got 4. So Laura, my wife, coaches them in soccer, which 2 of them are playing right now. And I coach them in football, which 2 of them are playing right now as well. So we're both coaches, but she coaches soccer and I coach the football teams. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. My oldest son, the one that works at Lucid, I helped coach his soccer team when he was little. So I know the struggles.
Days, right?
What's that?
Yeah, unforgettable days. I mean, you I think I'm going to really miss that one day of being able to do that. So,
Yeah. Not only, like you said, not only are you coaching a sport, you're coaching football or soccer, but you're also coaching the life lessons, and that's so important.
Yeah, it is life lessons. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So you serve on the House Appropriations Committee. How did you get that opportunity, and what insights can you share with us?
Yeah, no, it's a very unique opportunity. When I was appointed to that early in the term, I was the only freshman to be appointed to that. When we first came into office, and because it's a very sought after post, you get to have direct influence on the spending, the discretionary spending in the areas that matter. Also, you have a seat at the table to determine and have a voice at how much money comes back to the district. So it's a coveted position. And we have a trajectory and a history of having appropriators from this district. Jim Colby was an appropriator for almost the entire time he was in Congress. So he was in Congress for 22 years. I think 18 or 20 of those years, he was an appropriator, and he did a great thanks with that for our community. Actually, Ann Kirkpatrick, right before me, she was also an appropriator and served in the defense subcommittee. So that was very advantageous for our military base and installations as well over in Cochise County. So having an appropriator in this area is something that we've had that legacy. And I made a case for it. I said, hey, this is why I would be a good addition to it. You literally have to campaign to be on that, because your colleagues are the ones that select you. And we have a steering committee, and they're the ones that vote you in. It's a long process, but I made a case for it, and my colleagues, even senior members, trusted me with that appointment, and that's what we've been. So that has allowed us to be able to secure, like I said, at this point, $60 million back to the district, which is
great. Wow. It's great work that you do, Congressman Ciscomani. How can people support you and get involved with your campaign here on the home stretch?
Well, that's a very good question, because we need all the help that we can get.
We got 15 seconds till we jump out.
Well, JuanCiscomani.com. If you go to the website, we'll be able to get back to you, walk and put up signs and all the help that we need, obviously donating. But thank you so much for the support, guys. Really appreciate talking to you all.
Thank you so much. That's Congressman Juan Ciscomani. This is The Guys Next Door. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Don't fall victim to the water damage wannabes. If you have water damage or mold at your home, and your handyman or anyone else refers someone other than Steamy Concepts, tell them no way and call the water damage experts at Steamy Concepts today for a fast, free second opinion. SteamyConcepts.com. If your home floods from storms, leaks, or overflows, Steamy Concepts will be there within a flash to get all the water out. If you have water or mold damage and anybody other than Steamy Concepts shows up at your home, even if your insurance company sent them, send them away and call Steamy Concepts today. SteamyConcepts.com.
Tucson Pack and Ship on Irvington next to Estrella Insurance is the go-to resource for packing, shipping, printing, and business service needs. They can pack and ship almost anything to almost anywhere in the world. Tucson Pack and Ship is a one-stop shop. Need copies? They can do it. Need a notary public? They have one. They even have mailboxes. Tucson Pack and Ship, 698 West Irvington next to Estrella Insurance. Call to learn more, 520-312-2887.
Need a fresh coat of paint to bring new life to your home or business? Look no further than Piper Family Painting. With over 30 years of experience, their team delivers top quality workmanship and exceptional customer service. From interior makeovers to exterior transformations, they do it all. Call Piper Family Painting today at 520-302-4204 for a free estimate. Piper Family Painting, bringing new color to the Old West. Now, more of The Guys Next Door on 1030 The Voice.
And welcome back. We are The Guys Next Door. Man, that was such a great interview.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
We could probably spoke to him for hours.
Yeah. Several segments. Yeah,
he was awesome.
And welcome back. We are The Guys Next Door.
Yep.
Man, that was such a great interview with the congressman.
That was awesome. And I think every single guest, you're trying to top yourself. Which, like, once you had our next guest on, I didn't think you were going to be able to outdo yourself with that. But no offense to him, you keep upping it. So thank you. We'll be friends. Thank you, Juan, for introducing me to our next guest initially, because that was pretty darn cool. And then,
well, he's an awesome guy.
He is.
He's not just an awesome guy, but he's an awesome friend. I mean, he's the whole package, man.
Yeah.
Let's introduce him. Corey Williams from Crest Insurance.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. We're better than that. You're here, man. Yeah.
Happy to be here always.
Yeah.
Always.
Tell us a little bit about Crest Insurance.
There's not a whole lot to tell. I mean, we're a local insurance agency, but we're probably the largest independent insurance agency in the state of Arizona. Our roots go back 30, 40 years in Tucson. We became Crest in 2010, but it's just been an agency where we've been connected to the community, and we just pride ourselves on being that personal service, full service insurance agency, especially in a time where everything's automated now. So.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dig into a little something that you've mentioned in the past, and that's cyber. Is it cybersecurity or cyber insurance?
Cyber insurance.
Okay, cyber insurance.
You know what's
There's
going
a bunch of bad guys out there trying to take your money.
Everything's being hacked. Everything's
Yeah.
being stolen, put on the dark web. You've got ransomware where people lock up your system and you got to pay them to
Yeah.
unlock your files. All these things happen. And what you notice is the damage that's done, the productivity to loss of man hours and things like that. It's hard for people to recover from those things.
Oh, wow.
So the money that it takes to get you back on track, to recover
Yeah.
your files, to all of those things, people have to look at having cyber insurance because a cyber attack can cripple a company, and you really want to offset that risk with a
Yeah.
carrier. So if something goes wrong, you can get back up and running
Yeah.
without a huge financial loss, because the majority of people that are victims of cyber attacks don't recover.
Wow.
It'll put your lights out if
Yeah.
it hits you the wrong way and you don't have the software, you don't have the cash flow to stay afloat while you're sorting everything out.
Right.
It can really
Yeah.
take you out.
And it's not just big companies; they're going after little mom and pop companies too, right?
And it's one of those effortless crimes done behind a keyboard and
Yeah.
done over the internet. So you don't really, you can target dozens and dozens and dozens of companies. You only need to hit a couple to make that money. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people turning to that criminal underworld of
Sure.
cyber theft and hacking, and it's just really bad.
Yeah, I don't want to nerd out this whole segment about this, but this is like a very interesting subject because it definitely feels like, in a lot of ways, this is very cutting edge. I've never heard of anything like this. So, kind of walk me through like what is covered within that. Like something that happened to me just recently. I had somebody hack my Facebook account, and that was kind of connected to so many different things and made so many difficulties for us operating in a lot of different ways. But I don't really know how I would have quantified that, or if does that something that would fall underneath the coverage that you're talking about.
Well, cyber coverage is, obviously you have to experience a loss, and you're talking a business loss. So let's just say, for you instance, your employees started getting fake invoices and they started paying them to an account that wasn't yours. And now you've got people saying, hey, I paid you. And you're like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
They're not, your revenue is instantly cut off. Your vendors, your online platform, however you can get money, you have to disable that temporarily while you sort this out. Those people aren't going to get their money back, and you're not going to get paid for services that maybe your guys provided out in the field.
Sure.
So you're sitting there looking at, okay, I got to pay guys for stuff that we never received money for. I got parts and things that went out, and the money's not. So it's just a huge mess. So when you have real losses, you need to have a cyber insurance to offset those types of things. Someone could come in and lock up your system, your ability to talk to your guys out in the field. They could lock up your data files on your computer and say, hey, listen, you got to give us X amount of money before we unlock everything.
Right.
So what do you do while you're negotiating? Where does that money come from? Who pays that ransom? These are things that policies address, and it really is the biggest part of the industry that is booming right now, because so many business owners are old school. They've transitioned into the new internet, tech age, but they don't necessarily understand how everything works. So you say, hey, we need to automate our systems. Let's get rid of all these file cabinets and put everything online, and let's automate our billing and do it all over the internet, and let's link the bank accounts. And you're putting everything out there, and if it's not wrapped up the right way, you get hacked. And now there's very few old school paper and pen businesses out there right now.
Yeah.
I got a couple of employees that still cut paper checks to their employees, but most of it's direct deposit.
Yeah.
So everybody's automated in 2024, but you've got to understand where your vulnerabilities are, and you have to understand if something like that were to happen, you want to be like, okay, we're going to make this claim, we're going to get this money, we're going to get back on our feet, because it is one of those situations where you can have thousands and thousands of dollars lost really quick.
I can see that. Let's jump to a different topic.
Sure.
We've all heard about the UNLV quarterback quitting the team, and it's over NIL money. I'm sure you've heard that.
Yeah, heard that. I've heard that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that situation.
It's funny.
Just in general.
Well, it's funny because college athletics has always been amateur sports.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they started doing professional things in amateur sports.
Yeah.
They started selling advertising, they started selling banners and signs and digital media, and everybody was professional except the kids. Now, the kids are the last group to be brought into this professional world.
They are.
And
And
we
they
all
didn't
know.
have a contract, or at least that guy didn't have a contract.
There's no such thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist. So it's like, okay, we want to, like, let's just say he had a deal with Coca-Cola, and
Mhm.
Coke was going to give him money to go do some appearances, and that's a tangible quid pro quo. Like, we're going to give you this, you're going to do this, or whatever.
Right.
But when the underlying thing is you're going to go to this other university that we're not affiliated with,
Yeah.
we're a standalone collective. We're loosely tied to the university. We know with a wink and a nod, you're getting paid to play football.
Right.
But there's no legal paperwork that says that's exactly why you're being paid. You're being paid so we can use your name, image, and likeness. And we know you're going to show up on Saturdays and play football for the local school. Yeah. Well, if Part A falls apart, then the kid's going to default on Part B.
Yeah.
Even though there's no language in the contract tying him to Part B, which is the football. He's like, hey, you guys didn't give me my money.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we whatever the problem is, then it doesn't matter. We know
Yeah.
I'm getting paid to play football. So the door swings both ways.
It does. Yeah.
I think the solution is they're going to have the players unionized. So now you're signing CBA deal between the member schools in the NCAA and the players union. So now if there's a recourse, like, okay, you guys didn't give me my money, it plays out just like it does for the adults.
Yeah.
That's the only way it can happen,
Wow.
because what happens now is you've got schools over-promising, kids aren't going to get paid, and then they're going to hit the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Mm.
Again. Yeah.
I tell kids that I don't, everyone's looking at the upside. I'm like a glass half empty kind of guy.
Ah, okay.
What happens when you
Because you're an insurance guy.
yeah, what happens when you underperform? We give a quarterback $200,000 and you throw 14 picks.
Yeah.
Now we don't want you.
Yeah.
We don't care if you're in the middle of your grad course work or whatever. You're out of here. You're not playing well. So now you're in the transfer portal. The $200,000 number is a joke. You're just like a pro athlete that underperforms.
Yeah.
So now you're back in the portal trying to renegotiate a new deal with a new school
Right.
at a lesser amount of money.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of guys are mentally able at that age to be fired
Oh, wow.
and be in the open market for less pay.
Yeah.
That happened to me at age 33. I was a pro athlete, and I started getting smaller offers because I was older and I had made my money, but that's the way the market goes.
Right.
I don't know that the young guys are ready to see the door swing that way, because it swings both ways.
Sure.
Hey, you play well, you sign a new deal, you transfer and go to a bigger school, get more money. Hey, you don't play well,
Yeah.
and now you're going in the
You're going to
opposite direction.
smaller school. Sure.
And negotiations always leave good negotiations leave both sides bitter.
yeah.
So now you got a kid who's showing up in campus. I used to make $200,000. I had a bad year, and they only offered me $80 to come to this sorry little school. And now he's got a chip on his shoulder, and the coach is like, "You're not happy to be here." And it's like, my God, how do you form a locker room with chemistry
Yeah.
when you've got 50 different independent contractors out there for different varying amounts of money, and they're all supposed to get together and play for each other on Saturday?
Yeah. Exactly.
Good luck with that.
I was really surprised that they didn't have any kind of contract in place.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing. 'Cause,
Yeah.
well, I don't know anything about what I'm about to say, but I think a lot of these are just deals made on a handshake.
Yeah, that's what it
Because-
seems like. At least that's what we've
because-
read.
I think some of the funding is kind of, magical.
It should be there.
Suitcases of money that show up that aren't
Right.
exactly IRS traceable. I have no idea. I'm not saying anything about that particular situation, but I think a lot of the ways that it's moving right now, it is literally the wild, wild west. They don't
Wow.
have standard contracts. You can't really trace the money. It's kind of like, this is what you're going to get. And you can see clearly when that falls apart,
Yeah.
it becomes a national story.
Right. Right. Real quick, tell us a little bit about this year's upcoming U of A basketball team.
Well, I haven't been to a practice yet.
Okay.
But I know that with Caleb Love returning as one of the leading scorers, and you know what Jaden Bradley can do, and KJ Lewis, I think those three guys are going to be our core on the perimeter.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about the bigs.
Yeah.
I think the guard play, I think, will be good.
Right.
Coming into the Big 12, I think Arizona's going to have to be physical.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that they're going to be used to playing the Cincinnatis and the West Virginias. I know those programs.
Yeah.
So really going to practice next week to keep an eye on the big men, because I think this team will rise and fall on the play of the bigs.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, you score 80, 90 points in a college basketball game. Okay, fine. Caleb Love gives you 20. where are the other 65 coming from?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
So, it's just a wait and see type situation, but they've got some good tools, and Coach Lloyd does a great job of tweaking as the season goes.
Mm-hmm.
So between now and that first game, I think we'll see. We'll hear some good things, but I want to see some good things in December.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Corey Williams with Crest Insurance. We would like to thank our sponsors, Crest Insurance, Tucson Tamale, Tucson Pack and Ship, Steamy Concepts, Piper Family Painting, and Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed.